Training camp coverage brought to you by Consumer Tire. Breaking down all of the latest from today's practice. Here's Daryl Ryder and Coach Lance Reisland.
Day 12 of Browns camp has come and gone. Daryl Ryder along with Coach Lance Reisland with you. We are presented to you as always by Consumer Tire. Let's jump right into it. Some housekeeping. Denzel Ward, Carson Schlesinger, Mike Hall Jr., Parker Brailsford, Zach Zinder, Sam Kamara, Malik Collins among those not practicing today. Now, Coach Todd Monken did say, Coach, before practice that Mike Hall is getting closer. They don't have he wouldn't get in a timetable or anything. I said he's getting close, so I guess that's good news. We haven't seen much of him since, of course, Quinshon Judkins lit him up in practice the other day. Now let's get into some other business of the day and news of the day from Todd Monken. It looks like the offensive line is starting to come into focus, at least as far as the starters are concerned. Sounds like Elgton Jenkins is going to be the starting center for the Browns. Parker Brailsford has been hurt for the last couple of weeks here. A hand or a wrist injury, unable really to compete for that job. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and go with Elgton Jenkins at center. That means right guard is still up for grabs, but it sounds like it's Tevin Jenkins' job to lose. KT Levinson has been getting some reps there, a couple other guys, but looks like it's going to be Tevin Jenkins there in that fifth and final spot on the offensive line.
So you think about Titus Howard will be the right tackle. You got Tevin Jenkins at the guard, Jenkins at the center, Zion Johnson at the left guard, and obviously Spencer Fano at the left tackle. I really think it's important that Elgton Jenkins is the center. This is a new offense, new scheme. He's a veteran. He can help with those calls up front. Obviously they wanted Parker Brailsford to compete for that job, and maybe down the road he will as the season goes along. But Elgton Jenkins playing that center, I think, is vital for this quarterback play, just because he'll be able to help with protections, get these guys on the same page as they get into Jacksonville week.
Well, let me ask you this, since you bring that up. What about the thought, though, that his best play has come at right guard, though? Like, that's where his strength has been in his career. He can play center. Obviously, that's why he's doing it here in Cleveland. But what about that train of thought that his strength is right guard as opposed to the center position?
Well, he can actually play tackle, but I will tell you, when you're inside, the guards in the center, they have a lot of the same responsibilities. It's just with the opposite shoulder. So if you're doubling with the center, you're using one shoulder, and if you're in the guard, it's the other shoulder, but still the double team, right? The difference comes if you move from guard to center out to the tackle. That's when you're on an island in pass protection. That's when you're base blocking a lot by yourself. So the interior movement, not as big a deal as moving out to tackle. He'll be just fine at center.
All right, DeJuan Jones, who had been getting a lot of first-team reps at the left tackle spot, spent a lot today at right tackle. How did he look?
Well, I'll tell you what, he's with that second group, and he obviously rotating in with the ones. They do a nice job. DeJuan Jones looks at home at the right tackle. His footwork looks really comfortable. He's in great shape. Obviously, in the NFL, you need, and we've seen this before, you need more than 5-6 guys up front. You got to have guys that are ready to go at multiple positions. So DeJuan Jones has played the left tackle, so he knows it. And then he's at right tackle. And obviously, I think he did really well at left tackle, but the comfort you see in his stance and him getting off the football, he looked outstanding today. Really good day from DeJuan Jones.
All right, quick look at the Browns secondary. As I mentioned, Denzel Ward didn't practice today. I'm guessing just a veteran day off for him. Tyson Campbell didn't really do much in the team period. That meant we got to look at Trey Avery. We had talked about him yesterday in yesterday's post-practice report. Taryn Herron, though, also getting a lot of reps with that first-team defense at the other corner spot.
Well, Herring had a big interception today on Deshaun Watson. Really good play from him. Trey Avery, who we talked about yesterday, not only did we see Trey Avery work a lot with the ones, but you saw him as a gunner on the punt team, which I thought was really important because we know how important special teams have been for this new regime. So him at the kind of at that punt gunner, which is so important, I thought that was a big kind of sign that Trey Avery is making some waves here to be that third corner.
Perfect segue into special teams here. Andre Schmidt, 5 for 5 in his field goal period. He's having an outstanding camp.
Yeah, once again, everything from 45 to 51 yards in that range. Automatic today. Looks really good. And I like the fact they really create a team. It's not at the end of practice or the beginning of practice. It's right in the middle of practice, which I think is really important for these kickers to kind of get a look when it's important. They know it's important. He's been really good. Good today, been good all camp.
Learned today from special teams coordinator Byron Storer that we have a punting competition going on here.
News to us as well.
Yeah, he said, it is Corey Bojorquez's job to lose. Obviously the veteran incumbent, but Nick Constantino and Wes Paul have been out here punting, and you had some observations about what you've seen from the punters. Yes, believe it or not, amidst the quarterback competition, we're actually talking about the punters before we get to the quarterbacks. But this is what you get here on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel. We don't do the same show every day. The punters, we got a kickoff going on.
Well, I will tell you what. Obviously, there's all kinds of competitions going on here.
Is it a kickoff or is it a punt off?
I think it's a punt off.
Punt off. Okay.
But I will tell you what. If you ever come down to Browns camp, one of the most impressive things you will see is these three punters kick the ball. I mean, it is unbelievable. You know, it's just fascinating. Once again, I don't know. Obviously, it's Bajorquez's job to lose. He's been really good. If that's the case, I don't think he's done anything to lose it. But these two other guys have been really impressive too. So I think Bajorquez is kind of, for me, has cemented it because he's been outstanding. It'll be interesting to see, but news to us as well. So that's good though. Bajorquez needs some pressure a little bit. I like it.
Okay, now to the competition everyone's talking about and charting and nitpicking and. Guilty as charged. We're doing it too. It's the quarterback competition. Overall, this seemed like a pretty good day for the quarterbacks, but also the consistency continues with both Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders. Some great moments, some great throws, some not so great moments, some not so great throws, some what are you doing out there's. The pre-snap operation, though, let's give credit where it's due, and I do want to mention this because Monday's practice ended with Todd Monken losing his collective you-know-what because of some pre-snap issues during a 2-minute drill with both quarterbacks. He just got fed up with things. And he had mentioned today how he did address that with the offensive players and essentially in his own way apologized and said, he got caught up in the moment. He didn't handle it the right way as the head coach. Certainly regrets that. I thought that was kind of big of him because he doesn't have to apologize to anyone for him getting upset. It's something that continually happens time and time again. Monken was asked today specifically, hey, you got these quarterbacks bouncing in and out. The cadences are different. Everything, it's tough. Isn't it tough for guys to keep up with it? And he said, well, yeah, that might be the reality, but we're also almost 3 weeks into training camp and the same stuff keeps happening. So no, it's just an excuse. And I thought that was a very interesting comment from Todd Monken, not really giving guys an out of, well, there's guys coming in and out of that huddle and it's hard to keep track of all these cadences.
Yeah, no, it was very upfront and honest. And it really, for me, the cadence issue, I will just say this. If you look at last year's offense compared to this year's offense, there's a lot that the quarterbacks have to do pre-snap, right? They have to change the run play from left to right, right to left. Sometimes they have to change pass protection. Sometimes they have to change the play altogether. Then they have to work on the motions, the shifts, everything that Todd Monken does. So there's a lot, not giving excuses, but my point being, a lot of the operation stuff has happened in 2 minutes, right, where it even speeds up more. But I think they're getting better and better, and I thought today was a great step of they seem to be handling, because Todd Monken's offense is, I think, really cool in that it's very complex before the snap to make it simple after the snap. Mm-hmm. And you see the guys catching the ball on the run and opening lanes because the offense is, really the key is the quarterback has to get him into the right play, and they're starting to do that at a high level.
All right, let's just talk about the overall picture. One thing that has also been consistent in this camp has been the running game. Quinshon Judkins, Dylan Sampson, Raheem Sanders, they look like they're in midseason form and ready to play some football for real.
Well, yeah, when you see Coach Warhop, the thing that's the offensive linemen love to run block because they get to get off the ball and run downhill. And you see it with these guys. They're really good on double teams. And the thing you see with Warhop is that they're getting off the football, their feet are right, their hands are right, their mechanics, their fundamentals, and then they know who they're supposed to block, right? That would be the why that I always talk about that is really impressive with Coach Warhop. These guys know how to block and who they're supposed to block, which is really important. And in the run game, you hear it over and over. Pass protection's hard, especially against this defensive front. They've had success at times all camp. Not all practice, but at times every day they've had success. The counter game, the zone game, the pin and pull, very versatile in what they do in the run game. That'll be week to week based on what they see in defense. But the run game has been consistent all camp.
Yeah, and for all the conversation we have had on a daily basis about the quarterbacks, the fact of the matter is, while that is still up in the air, Todd Monken still won't say who his starting quarterback is going to be for the Bears game. It's either going to be Deshaun or Shedeur, and then whoever doesn't start that game will start the following week, it looks like, against the Buffalo Bills. Again, all of this is subject to change because, as Todd reminded us, he's allowed to change his mind on things. But That's the situation as we understand it now. The supporting cast around the quarterbacks, though, and I guess maybe this is where I feel good at least about the accuracy of the competition or the actual metrics of the competition, because the supporting cast, the two young wide receivers, Denzel Boston, I think he leads camp in receptions and targets. Casey Concepcion's catching the ball. Jerry Jeudy's catching the ball for the most part, right? All these receivers, the running backs, Harold Fannin Jr. is having an outstanding camp. A couple other tight ends are having really good camps. The supporting cast seems to be doing their jobs, and I don't know, maybe they're going to be good enough to elevate whoever the starting quarterback is.
Well, yeah, and if you look at NFL quarterbacks, there's very few NFL quarterbacks you win because of. But there's a lot of guys you win with. Sam Darnold's a great example of that last year in the Super Bowl. When you have a supporting cast like they're starting to build, Casey Concepcion, Denzel Boston, like you said, Harold Fannin, if you're going to cover them, then you get linebackers out of there and Judkins becomes good in the run game. So these guys got to be good enough that you can win with. Now, as they become quarterbacks you can win with, slowly but surely, if they can take the next step to be quarterbacks you win because of, that's great. But you can't always bank on having a quarterback. There's very few guys that can just own an offense and win because of them. Guys need help, and the Browns now have some help on offense. I think over the next couple weeks, you're going to see one of these quarterbacks kind of take the lead because of the supporting cast. Spencer Fano is now the left tackle. We know that. Denzel Boston is the #1 receiver. We know that. We'll see what happens moving forward, but their supporting cast is going to help these guys get to where they need to be.
All right, let's get to our second favorite part of the program each and every day here on the 92.3 The Fan YouTube channel. Again, we're presented by Consumer Tire. It's time for the pop of the day. Jared Verse, ladies and gentlemen. If you were worried, which I don't know why anyone would be, but if you were worried about his big hit capability, Dylan Sampson found out the hard way.
Yeah, it was pin and pull right at Jared Verse, and Jared Verse is like, he's just amazing with his energy every single snap. From the time you go through stretch, I had an opportunity to go down there earlier today to watch individual, why everybody's getting stretched. He is working drills with Alex Wright as if they're getting ready for a game. I mean, and it's early in practice, and it's still, they're not even out here yet. It's just impressive, and it never changes. His mentality never changes. His tempo, his pace, his sense of urgency, it never changes. His leadership. Yeah, they ran a pin and pull, and it wasn't really it's just kind of one of those things. He just plays so hard. He just kind of ran into Sampson, and Sampson's a little guy, and you saw when big hits little, and it was quite a pop.
All right, speaking of pops, the Thunder is starting to roll in behind us, so we're going to be wrapping this up real quick. Your camper of the day.
I'm going to go with Spencer Fano. You know, you take a guy who's was under a lot of pressure first 8-9 days during installation, had his ups and downs against Jared Verse. Saturday kind of turned the corner. The light went on. Saturday he was really good. Yesterday he was really good. Today he was really good. He's becoming that consistent left tackle, and he's only going to get better because he's got to go and get Jared Verse every day. So he's going to get better and better and better. I thought his consistency over the last couple of days has been awesome.
Yeah, and it really is hard to miss out there. Okay, you play of the day.
You know, let's see. I'm gonna go with combinations of plays. I'm gonna go with Deshaun Watson working the ball over the middle of the field to Jerry Jeudy today on the dig route. And the reason why, I'm going to kind of give it to the offense again. Shedeur Sanders had a really good dig route. I'm going to say throwing the ball over the middle of the field is what the Browns are doing best. And what I like about it is that is when the Browns offense is in best rhythm. Whatever quarterback's in, when they're working the middle of the field, that's when they're in the best rhythm. That's when they're getting the best pass protection. The best routes are being run. It really looks sharp. And for those of us who have been down here a couple years, there's times where the offense never looks sharp. There's times now you see it's not consistent yet, but there are times, and for me, when they're running the ball and throwing the ball over the middle of the field, they're sharp.
All right, that's going to do it for us as we put a bow on this one. Day 12 in the books. Day 13 comes your way Wednesday. It's the final practice open to fans, again, weather permitting. Storms are rolling in now, post-practice out here in Berea. We will be back to recap that. And then, of course, the preseason opener is Saturday in Chicago, Saturday afternoon, I should say, against the Bears at Soldier Field. So for Coach Lance Reisland, Darrell Ryder, signing off from Cross Country Mortgage Campus here in Berea. Again, we are presented to you by Consumer Tire. Thanks, as always, for watching on the 92.3 The Fan channel. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Feel free to leave us a comment or two or three. Like, dislike, whatever. Either way, we appreciate you taking the time to watch us here on the 92.3 The Fan channel and Browns training camp coverage.